Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Well, hello everyone. We're back for another edition of the Newfangled Motion Picture Show. As is usual, I am Niall.
And I am Nolan.
And today we're going to be doing a review of Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah.
Henceforth known as Pac Rim 2, because I can't remember the subtitle.
Or can't be bothered.
It doesn't need a subtitle. It's Pac Rim. It's more giant robots fighting more monsters. Anyway, so we're gonna be doing our normal thing. Do a spoiler-free review. Not that there's a lot to spoil. Well, there's one major spoiler. So that we'll go over in the spoiler bit. So we'll do a spoiler-free review, give you a spoiler warning, and then spoil it. Spoil the hell out of this movie.
Yeah.
Let me just say, going into this movie, what I wanted to see was very well computer animated giant robots fighting very well computer animated other giant robots. This is specifically what I wanted, as well as kaiju. Because I was like, I think it'd be cool to have Jaeger on Jaeger fighting.
And from the trailer, it kind of looked like that was going to happen.
Yep. And I guess minor spoiler, it does,
yeah.
But it's in like the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Or something like that, half hour of the movie. It's really early on, and not really. It's not like a big surprise or anything. So, when they get to the bottom of that, though, then there is a big surprise. But anyway, so yeah, that's exactly what I got, though.
Yeah, I will say I enjoyed this movie. I was not actually expecting a whole lot out of it. And I put it up. It's almost as good as the first one. I think at no point was I like, oh, they're just rehashing the old stuff. It never felt like they were rehashing anything.
Right.
And as far as the plot, there were a lot of times where I was like, all right, this is going to happen. And then it didn't happen.
Yep.
Like, because we sit there and call plots out all the time, and a lot of the time we're right.
Yep.
But the plot of this movie actually wasn't as predictable as I thought it was. Like, there's lots of times like, yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and maybe one of those things happens, and
yep.
Or none of it. Yeah.
And excuse me. I just had a bunch of barbecue, and so I got like coughing up stuff. You know how it is. I'm gonna try really hard not to cough all over the mic. There was actually one point in the movie where you went, well, I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
As I recall. So, but basically, my thought on the movie is there's a couple of points that feel like particularly cheesy, more so than the original movie. And when I say that, I fully acknowledge the level of cheese that was the canceling the apocalypse speech. But this, like,
well, they made a joke about that.
They did make a joke about that.
It was a pretty good
but
joke.
There's some, particularly like in the final fight, like there's this one part that I'm just like groaned at, like, oh god. I'll get into that in the spoiler part, I guess. But for the most part, it was cool. Jaegers fighting monsters, Jaegers fighting other Jaegers. And yeah, everything was very well animated. There was one shot that was clearly done in front of a green screen, and it just didn't look right.
They didn't get the writing light on the actor.
The lighting right
on the actors.
Yeah,
and it kind of popped out of the background too much.
Yeah, it was kind of, and that was jarring because the rest of the movie is very well done with the CG and all the rotoscoping.
Yeah, and chroma keying
and all that. Like the rest of the movie, I mean, there's some scenes where you know it's blue screen or green screen because it has to be. There's no way that it could not be. But there's just this one shot that was just like, wow. It just sort of took you out of the movie for a minute, you know. But otherwise, the movie was gorgeous to look at. Lots of robots fighting and stuff blowing up. You know, the usual
major destruction
of major metropolitan areas. So,
yep.
But yeah, I recommend going to see it. Gets a definite recommend from me.
Yeah, me too.
So, especially if you're a fan of the first one. I mean, and going into this movie, you're not getting in for like a serious like, you know, like this movie will never be anyone's argument for the artistic value of movies. let me just put it that way. But you know what you're getting going into it, and you know, as long as your expectations are that of Pac Rim, you'll be completely satisfied.
Yeah.
So, I think that's about all I could say about the movie without spoiling anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, henceforth, there will be spoilers.
Yeah.
Ye be warned. Yeah, so, man, that scene where the four good guy Jaegers are all, like, lined up, and they gotta go fight the big kaiju at the end, and they're like, run forward and hit him with everything you got, and they just like charge forward in a line abreast. It was just like felt really cheesy, especially because like it had been shown that just straight on assault was ineffective.
Yeah, apparently swords are really effective though, because they were just like hacking the thing apart with swords.
Yeah.
The
gravity whip was kind of cool.
That was pretty cool actually. I like that. They had this. One of them has this weapon where it like shoots out this beam of energy.
Two of them have it.
Yeah, and it has this beam of energy, and it just grabs up whatever debris that is around cars and whatnot, and forms it into a ball, and then it can swing it around like a
flail,
like
and
a hit
morning
things.
star.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty neat. The Jaeger designs were all pretty cool in this.
I like that. There's that big beefy one that has like the third pilot. It's not a pilot. It's like it's a weapons officer.
We thought it was like Crimson Typhoon from the first one, where like at first we were like, oh, so I guess that one just requires a third drifter.
No, it turns out that person is just there to operate all the extra weapons on the thing, because there's all these like cannons and guns and stuff on it.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, the thing that surprised me is the one scientist, because they brought back those two scientists. Newt. He's a bad guy. Sort of. So if you recall from the first movie, he and Gottlieb, the two scientists, drifted with a kaiju brain to try to figure out like why the kaiju were doing this and what their next move is going to be. Or whatever. I don't even remember the exact reason, because it doesn't matter. It's Pac Rim. Right. But that's where they learned the plan that the aliens were sending the...
Right. So, Newt kept that brain and kept drifting with it because he became addicted to drifting with the kaiju brain. I guess he got some kind of euphoric high off of it.
Yeah, but they used that connection to implant like the consciousness of one of them into him, and so now he's like on the side of the kaiju, and
yep,
he has this whole plan for like opening new gates and stuff.
Yeah, so he uses the company that he's working for, Shao Industries or whatever, to basically uses the Jaeger drones that they have to open portals and to summon kaiju through. And I guess the plan of the kaiju all along... This is something that didn't quite mesh with me. So they discover, looking at kaiju path movements from the war, they were all heading towards Mount Fuji.
This is why this doesn't work, is because they would have no reason to attack North America and Australia.
Right, which they most certainly did.
Yeah, because they would pop up in the rift was like in the middle of the Pacific.
Yep.
They would have all just gone to Japan.
Yep.
If that was the case.
Yep. So the
They
plan,
have no reason to go to North America, South America, and Australia.
it's discovered that kaiju blood reacts very violently with rare earth minerals, and so the kaiju plan was to go, I guess, jump a kaiju into Mount Fuji, which in the movie they claim to be full of rare earth minerals. I don't know if that's actually true or not.
But the plan was that would cause a reaction that would detonate all the volcanoes in the Pacific Rim, and the ash and whatnot that would be spewed into the air would
Kill off
all the humans and start terraforming the planet for the alien use.
Yeah, so
Which they call the precursors in this.
yeah, which I do not recall them ever being called that
No, I don't remember that at all.
in the first one. So
Precursors to what? I don't know.
right, so that was a little weird. Now maybe if they had explained it of like, well, the kaiju were trying to make their way to volcanic areas, and so that's why they were attacking the Ring of Fire areas. But are there volcanoes in Siberia? Because they definitely made it known that the Russians fought kaiju on the Siberian coast.
Probably. I mean, what's that huge one in Washington?
St. Helens?
Yeah, that's part of
Right.
that chain of volcanoes.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to head for that, that's why that makes sense on that argument. But yeah, to be like solely going after Mount Fuji, it doesn't mesh with the first movie.
Right.
You don't think about that in the heat of the moment while watching the movie, but it's one of those things afterwards. You're like, well, hold on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so
the way it made it looked like because there was another Jaeger that was showing up and destroying destroying sites that would have led to this information.
right.
The humans found them, and it all looked like it was being done by this company that was trying to make Jaeger drones
To replace the Jaeger program.
the Jaeger program, and it all looked like it was part of this whole plan to make Jaegers look obsolete, and that they would, the drones would be the better way to go in the future, and that turned out not to be the case. That was a red herring.
Yep.
And it was all like, it turned out the woman running that company didn't have any desire to even replace the Jaeger program. She just wanted her program in there as well.
Right.
And it was all like Newt behind the scenes doing this because he's working for her. And yeah, it was like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. I totally thought that this woman, who had been portrayed as a total bitch the entire time,
Right.
and so you're looking at her as the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it was a great distraction, sleight of hand. Like, look over here. You're not paying attention to this, and so you're just so focused on this woman is the bad guy,
Right.
that it totally blindsides you to find out that this guy who is one of the good guys.
Oh, not just a good guy, but it's like, it's just Newt. Like, he's harmless. Come on.
Right. So yeah, I thought that was well done.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Let's see. Cast. John Boyega is. I liked him a lot in this because he's a lot more charismatic than the guy from the first movie.
Yep.
He's only just mentioned. He's not in the movie at all.
Riley.
Yeah, and he's just sort of mentioned. I don't know if he's alive or dead or what.
They talk about Idris Elba.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Stacker Pentecost.
Yeah, he's John Boyega's his character's father.
Right. They talk about him a lot. Oh, Raleigh. Raleigh. See, every time
Raleigh, I think.
Well, every time they say it, it sounds like they're saying Riley with an accent, because it's like
it's Raleigh.
It's Raleigh, Raleigh. Yeah, the character from the first movie. He was kind of an abrasive asshole, frankly. So yeah, John Boyega is a much more charismatic person. And yeah, I think John Boyega did a pretty great role, or great job.
Yeah,
I think all the acting, even from the kids, was all pretty good.
I was disappointed not to get any Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
Although his character was mentioned.
Yeah, and what upset me is like they mentioned him, or he was in the comics that led up to this movie.
Yeah,
That was like the took place between the two movies. He was not just mentioned; he was in the comic.
yeah.
And so we were hoping to see him, and like, it was known that he was on the West Coast, right?
Yeah,
where
but
John
they
Boyega
mentioned
started the movie.
Yeah, but they mentioned him being in
Well, they mentioned running into him in Hong Kong,
right.
which doesn't mean that's where he was, but in
Yeah.
the comics, he was, as I recall, he was in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, I think that's about all we have to say about the movie.
yeah, giant robots fight giant monsters.
Yeah, other than
Looks pretty.
the plot holes, which is about Mount Fuji, you can ignore it while watching this, and the movie's pretty good.
Yeah. So, coming up, hopefully at some point we'll get to see Isle of Dogs.
It's not playing.
That was going to be another review we did this weekend.
And we find out last minute that it's not showing anywhere.
Yeah, it's not showing anywhere here. Hopefully we'll get to see it, which is really weird to me because it's been advertised so heavily.
Well, every theater in town's got a poster for it.
Yeah.
In the lobby.
And
we go to several theaters regularly.
Yeah, there's
like four that we go to.
Ones that we frequent.
And they all have posters for Isle of Dogs in the lobby.
And it's freaking Wes Anderson. Like, it's a big name director with a bunch of big names in the cast. Like, the cast is huge, and it's all well-known people. Why isn't it showing anywhere here? Why is it a limited release? I don't get it. I hate when things are done as limited releases because we never get them here. It took us 3 weeks after the launch of Darkest Hour for us to see it.
Yeah, that was really annoying.
I'm not driving to California just to see a movie. Anyway, other than that, coming up next week is, I think the only movie coming out next week is Ready Player One. And then, alright, let me double check that. Yeah, there's some Tyler Perry movies, which we're not seeing because it's Tyler Perry. And some other random stuff. But Ready Player One's the only one coming out next week. We're going to see. Hopefully as well sometime in there we'll also, beyond Isle of Dogs, also finally be able to see Death of Stalin. It's getting amazing reviews. I want to see that movie so bad. And then coming up after that, are we going to see Chappaquiddick?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe? We'll see. It's something we're interested in. It's a definite maybe. And then otherwise in April, there's Rampage. Super Troopers 2?
Yeah. Well, there's a big cardboard standee of that when we left Pack Rim last night.
Yeah. And then Avengers Infinity War at the end of the month. Which, we're sure as shit seeing that movie. Hopefully everything will be paid off that they've alluded to so far in all the
It's going to end in a huge cliffhanger. We're going to have to wait for the next one.
Yep. I want to know how they're going to reconcile Thanos showing up and then Ant-Man having his own movie and then continuing Avengers.
Well, if Ant-Man and the Wasp takes place before Infinity War.
Yeah, it's so weird though because other than Captain America, which is real obvious that it doesn't take place chronologically because it's a period piece.
Mm.
Other than that, the movies have basically all taken place, or they either took place in the order they were released, or it didn't matter.
Yeah, well, because Doctor Strange actually takes place. It's one of the earlier set ones,
right? But that one doesn't.
You don't. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but people don't realize it. But it's set far earlier than you think. It's set before Winter Soldier,
right?
As evidenced by Shield or not Shield, but Hydra targeting Doctor Strange with
Right.
the helicarrier, and it was like, well, if he wasn't already a hero, then
Right.
So anyway, that's neither here nor there in regards to Pacific Rim Uprising. So we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Toodaloo.